The notion of talking with self-transforming machine elves, which is how I put it in my book, The Invisible Landscape, seemed, I mean, I couldn't believe it when I wrote these words on paper. It seemed like such a freaky notion. But people say, you know, yes, that's it. I know what you're talking about. I saw that same thing too. Well, that seems to me to mean that self-transforming machine elves is actually a step forward in language, and that the psychedelic issue is somehow linked to the evolution of language, and that we are not, and in fact the whole culture crisis generally is linked to a direct evolution of language. We have to change the way we speak about reality, and then it will be perceived as different. And this apparently cannot be done by great leaps. It's done incrementally by introducing a concept here, a word there, a notion somewhere else. But the psychedelicization, if you will, of society and language seems to me was never blunted and goes on apace and has ever since Leary and Metzner and all those giants back in the Stone Age dumped LSD on American society. I see it everywhere, in design, in music, in fashion, everywhere that doesn't count, someone said to me. It's everywhere but in the control mechanism. But I think the control mechanism is probably the last to get the news. That culture is shedding its skin faster than anyone can anticipate. So this evolution of language thing really interests me. And recently when people have been saying, you know, what do you want to do with it? Where do you want to take it? I'm less interested than I used to be in extraterrestrials, flying saucers, all of that stuff. I still access it regularly. But you see, when I first started publicly speaking, I thought that if people confirmed what I was saying, the obligation would somehow leave me to do anything about it, and it would be like NASA would take care of it or something like that. But I've discovered that, you know, as my friend Eric Jansch used to tell me, that society really is metastable. That, you know, I'm perfectly free to say these outlandish things, and you're perfectly free to believe them and to say them to your friends, and it doesn't matter a bit, apparently. So, or the effect is so long-term that it doesn't matter a bit. So I've turned from the question of indicating the presence of the other to the question of what is it like to be the person who indicates the presence of the other. And so I'm more interested in the transformation of the quality of daily experience